So it's Miss Winelander here, and I'm going to go through the distributive property quiz retake. So that's from Algebra 1A, Unit 2, Lesson 7. So in this video, I'm going to go through all the original questions on the quiz. That way, if you missed something the first time around, I can explain how you could have done it. I'm also at some point going to say what I call the secret word. That's the word that you need to make sure that you remember or write down because you're going to put it in the Google form. It's kind of your ticket to the retake. Even if I say it partway through, still watch to the very end to review all the concepts from this quiz, because if you're taking a retake, it meant that you didn't understand everything fully the first time. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to explain the rest of the retake process so you know what you need to do and how you can earn points back on this quiz. So let's get started. The first one is, which expression is equivalent to -2 times the quantity of a plus 6? So I'll get my pen out. This is the distributive property of a term being multiplied by another term. So it means everything on the outside is going to be multiplied to everything on the inside. So -2 has to be multiplied by a and 6. So 2 times a, -2 times a plus -2 times 6. -2 times a, we just write -2a. -2 times 6, we write -12. And that is our final answer, is -2a minus 12. For 4, to which subsets of real numbers does the number -22 belong? Choose all subsets that apply. So this is something that I've struggled with a lot in math, is kind of knowing the differences between these, because there's some subtle differences, especially between like whole numbers and natural numbers. So I've created like a little kind of almost cheat sheet for myself. You can use something like that, or a study guide. There's pictures in your textbook or online that can kind of help you remember. The more you practice this, the more that you go through these pathways on your brain, the easier it'll come to you. So just as a quick review, so whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, on and on and on and on and on. Rational numbers are numbers that make sense, that are rational. You can write them as a fraction. They also include, whole numbers, integers. So integers are whole numbers and negative whole numbers. So it'd be like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, on and on. That way, positive, on and on, negative. Irrational numbers are numbers that don't make as much sense. If you type in your calculator, the decimal is strange usually. The famous example is pi. Natural numbers are counting numbers. It's what you could see out in nature when you're counting. So it's numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. It does not include 0. So after that quick review, let's see which one does number 22 go into. So is it a whole number? Nope, because whole numbers do not include negative numbers. Is it rational? Yeah, you could write it as a fraction of -22 divided by 1. So it is rational. Is it an integer? Nope, integers include negative numbers. Is it irrational? No, we already said it's rational, so it's not irrational. And is it natural? Is it a counting number? Nope, counting numbers and natural numbers do not include negatives. So it's 2 points because you know that you have to include 2 subsets. In this case, it's rational and integer. For the next question, for question 3 here, write an algebraic expression for the following word phrase: 6 times the difference of b and p. Remember some of the vocab terms maybe you've heard before, maybe they were new, but words like quotient, which means divide, product, which means multiply, sum, which means addition, and difference, that means subtraction. So 6 times, so times multiply, so 6 times the difference, that's subtraction, the difference of b and p. So we have 6 times the difference of b and p. Remember, it goes first, second. So first one minus the second one, b minus p. So times b minus p. Now you want 6 times that whole difference. So you want to make sure that you are telling everyone to do the subtraction symbol first, do subtraction first, and then multiply. So you can write it as 6 times parentheses b minus p, or You can just have the 6 and not that dot that represents multiplication because you know that that will tell you to do the distributive property. For number 4, what's the simplified form of this expression here? Well, that brings us back to the good old famous PEMDAS, order of operations. So we're going to have to do the numerator before the denominator. So parentheses first. So that would be 14 minus 2. 14 minus 2 is 12. I don't see any other parentheses or grouping symbols. Exponents, so 12 squared. So 12 squared is 12 times 12, which is 144. I don't see any more exponents, so go to multiplication and division. 5 times 144. Now, if you don't know this off the top of your head, that's all right. Use your calculator. That's 720 divided by 2. Again, if you don't know that off the top of your head, that's okay. I always suggest trying it first and then checking it with the calculator. So the final answer here is 360. For question 5, we're evaluating, so that means we actually are going to solve for something. In this case, it says evaluate u plus x, y, which we know means x times y. If u is 18, x is 10, and y is 8. So we're going to substitute those in. So instead of u, we're going to write 18. Instead of x, we're going to write 10. Instead of y, we're going to write 8. And we know that in between the 10 and 8 is being multiplied. So we simplify. 18 plus 10 times 8, because remember, PEMDAS, there's not or grouping symbols, there's not exponents, there is multiplication and division. So we got to do 10 times 8 first to get 80. 80 plus 18, which is 98. Number 6, a square field has an area of 479 feet squared. What is the approximate length of a side of the field? Give your answer to the nearest foot and explain your response. So let's go through this. It says a square field. So we already know it looks like a perfect square. All sides are equal. There's 90 degrees here. It has an area of 479 feet squared. What else do we know about the area in a square? Well, I know the area of a square is side squared. Now it asks us for what is the approximate length of the side of the field. So it's really asking us to solve for the side. So if we know our formula here, and we know area is equal to 479, we can substitute that in. We get 479 is equal to side squared. Or to solve for side, we'll do the inverse. So we'll square root each side. Now what's the square root of 479? Alright, 479 square root, 21.886. Alright, so side is equal to 21.886, about. So we answered the first couple sentences here. Now it says give your answer to the nearest foot. This is not to the nearest foot, so let's think, where do we round? Well, we want to end right here, so we look at the next digit, which is 8. That means we're going to round up. So we round to 22 feet. Now it said explain our response. What we wrote when we showed our work, that is us explaining our response. So we've answered the question. The very last one here, simplify the expression. Again, we're practicing order of operations and PEMDAS a lot. We want to make sure we get really good and confident at that before we get to more challenging stuff in the next unit. So let's do grouping symbols first, parentheses. So 7 plus 5, which is 12. So we have 12 plus 4 times 13 minus 2. Next we go to exponents. Well, there are any. Now we go to multiplication and division from left to right. So I see 4 times 13. And 4 times 13 is 52. So I still have that 12 plus 52 minus 2. I don't see any more multiplication and division, so we go to addition and subtraction from left to right. 12 plus 52 is 64 minus 2. 64 minus 2 is 62. And that is your final answer. So at this point, I'm going to say the secret word here, which today is focus. I saw a quote recently that said, do less with more focus, and it really stuck with me. You know, don't try to do too much. Don't try to spread yourself too thin in other ways. But what you do, really focus at it and do your very best. So the secret word is focus. You're going to need to write that down below in order to get your retake. So what you do now that you've watched the video and hopefully have a higher understanding of maybe the mistakes you made the first time is you enter in the secret word, you answer a couple questions in the Google form, and you click submit. That automatically lets me know that you want a quiz retake. I just look that over, make sure you got the correct secret word, and send you a webmail with a retake. Now if you have any questions, like if you'd like to meet in a live lesson or talk on the phone before you try a quiz retake, let me or Mrs. School know, and we will set that up with you. Now when you are given the quiz retake, you only have to redo the questions that you showed that you didn't understand the first time. Because if you've already shown us that you know how to do number 5, we're not going to ask you to show us that you know how to do number 5 again. You did that already. That's mastery learning here at Michigan Connections Academy. So if you missed questions 1, 5, and 6 on the quiz the first time you took it in Connexus, you're going to have to answer 1, 5, and 6 on the retake, and that's it. Make sure that you show all of your work. I know that a lot of these were multiple choice on the original one. They're all short answer on the quiz retake because I want to see your work. I want to see if you're still not understanding it, where did the mistake happen? So again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, finish the Google form and I'll send you that quiz retake. Bye.